Albert didn't have one bat, BP, or game that was not corked.
Checking the bat right here of Albert Bell.
Is it corked?
I think I can get that bat. It was mission impossible when Tom Cruise is hanging from the ceiling on the rope.
He said, Dave, we've had a break-in in your dressing room. I said, a break-in?
He was going to call in the FBI. Whoever did it was going to jail.
It was truly breaking the law, literally breaking and entering.
I don't think anybody could believe I'd actually pulled it off.
July 15th, 1994. The All-Star break had just ended, and the Indians and White Sox were about to start the second game of a four-game series at New Comiskey Park. It was a seemingly average midsummer day at the ballpark, right up until a plot twist so surreal happened, no Hollywood screenwriter could ever conceive of it. There, the greatest undercover heist in baseball history went down. At the center of this 90s caper was Albert Bell, the Indians' often fiery, power-hitting left fielder.
Albert drives it to right field and a wall. Forget about it.
There's an Albert Bell home run.
And Bell has taken a victory lap around the bases.
Good evening and welcome back to Comiskey Park in Chicago.
So it was another game in the middle of July. You know, they call them the dog days, and they surely were. I had the plate that particular day.
It's a beautiful evening for baseball between the White Sox and the Cleveland Indians.
Well, we were in the first inning. Albert had just come up to home plate. And all of a sudden, Gene Lamont standing right next to me, the manager of the White Sox. He said, Dave, he said, I'd like for you to check Albert's bat. I think he's using a tampered or illegal bat.
Checking the bat right here of Albert Bell.
Is it corked?
Could it be?
Some speculate that Gene Lamont and the White Sox were tipped off that Bell had been using a corked bat throughout the '94 season, a clear rule violation that allows for quicker bat speed without losing much power. By rule, the White Sox were allowed to protest the bat and have it examined.
We thoroughly looked at the bat, and I came back, and I said, Albert, we're going to have to take this and check it more thoroughly after the game.
They're going to take this bat, probably X-ray it.
My clubhouse attendant was back there who takes care of the umpire's room. I said, put this in my locker and make sure that it's secure.
There's a good guy to give it to.
Well, if any will take care of it, I'll tell you that right now. That bat will not get out of his hands.
For both player and team, the stakes were high. Anyone caught using a corked bat would receive a significant suspension. And with just a slight lead in the AL Central, the Indians could ill afford to lose their star slugger.
Our manager, Mike Hargrove, put his hands in his head, and Buddy Bell was sitting next to him. I said, Buddy, what's wrong with Mike? And he said, we're done. There's a good chance that bat's corked. I looked at Buddy. I said, Buddy, I think I can get that bat. So, well, I walked in with umpires today, and if I'm not mistaken, in the clubhouse, it's a false ceiling. And I know there's cinder block walls. I said, I bet I can make my way back to the umpire's room, crawl down, and get that bat. We went and talked to Mike Hargrove, and Grover looked over at me and gave me the thumbs up, and we were off.
Here's the rock. Tim Raines takes a breaking ball low, and the count 1-0.
I went inside. I took my jersey off, put some tennis shoes on, put some batting gloves on. I need a flashlight. Had a sanitary wrapped around my face. Albert didn't have one bat, BP, or game that was not corked. So we found a bat that was similar. It was a Paul Sorrento model. Put some pine tar on it, threw a little rosin on it, got it all tacky like it's sort of been used, put it in a sanitary.
Strike one to Manny Ramirez, one of the great-looking young rookies in the big leagues right now. He's just 21 years old. I
went into Mike Hargrove's office, lifted up a towel, and got on the cinder block walls and started making my way to the umpire's room. It's dark, dusty, hot. It had to be close to 95 to 100 degrees. Couldn't really breathe. There's little support beams everywhere. There's air conditioning ducts. There are wires, outlets, boxes. So I was having to go through some pretty tight spaces.
Here's Jackson. He hits this one in the air left field. Deep. Albert Bell is under it now, just short of the warning track.
In the third inning, the Indians were up 2-1 on the White Sox. But with their star players' season potentially in the balance, stakes were much higher in the bowels of Comiskey.
You had to really take your time, and every step, you know, the gig could have been up. I could have went right through the roof. Could have got electrocuted. Could have got burnt. There's a whole bunch of things could have went wrong.
After 45 minutes of crawling above the false ceiling and below the stands of Comiskey Park, Grimsley finally arrived at what he believed to be the umpire's locker room, but it proved to be a mistake, one that could have sabotaged the entire mission.
I get to where I think the umpire's room is. I lift up a towel to peek in, and when I lift the towel up, one of the grounds crew guys was in there, and he looked up at me, and I looked down at him, and I just put my finger over my lip, and he looked up and gave me the okay, and I continued on.
Little chopper, comebacker, and very quickly 2 go.
I found the room, pick up the ceiling tile, and I'm right over the refrigerator. I can actually feel my heart beating in my ears. That's how much my adrenaline was pumping. And I dropped down in, took the bat with me, sat on top of the refrigerator, put my foot on the counter, stepped down the floor, walked over, found the bat in one of the umpire's lockers. It was wrapped up in a sanitary, so all I had to do was replace it. Came back, crawled back up, put the ceiling tile down. That was pretty intense. You think for any second you're gonna get caught.
With mission bat swap now complete, Grimsley carefully retraced his path back to the visitors' locker room. In total, the trip took him 5.5 innings and over an hour and a half. Upon his return, the Indians made sure to cover their tracks.
As soon as the bat dropped through the top of the ceiling, it was gone, along with every other bat that he had. We had a mass exodus of Albert bats.
Ground ball hit hard at Tomey. Over to second, that'll do it.
The game ended in a 3-2 Cleveland win, but soon after, the real fireworks began in Chicago. As Dave Phillips made his way back to the umpire's locker room, he saw a crowd of people by the doorway. There, he was approached by Ron Schuler, the White Sox general manager.
He said, Dave, we've had a break-in in your dressing room. And I said, a break-in? And then I see the big hole in the ceiling and all this stuff hanging down and stuff all over the floor. And then you're kind of putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. They came in and broke in our dressing room to steal this bat.
Schuler and White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf were determined to get to the bottom of the great bat heist of '94. Before the third game of the series the next day, Kevin Hallinan, a former FBI agent who is now affiliated with Major League Baseball, was brought to Comiskey. His job? To tear apart the crime scene in search of even the smallest clue.
When I go to my dressing room, they've got it cordoned off with the yellow police tape, and there's guys in the ladders and they're back up in the tiles, and I don't know whether they're taking fingerprints or what they're doing, but they're seeking and searching everything in the room just as though a major crime had happened.
Yeah, I think Reinsdorf was trying to get fingerprints and had batting gloves on, but not an issue.
The White Sox weren't going to let the bat disappear without a fight. With mounting pressure from Chicago and the commissioner's office, a meeting took place 2 days after the theft, where Indians GM John Hart presented Bell's original bat to Schuler and Reinsdorf, with the stipulation that the assailant, who wasn't known to the White Sox, would not be prosecuted or punished for the break-in. Grimsley also met with Commissioner Bud Selig that week, who wanted the straight scoop from the Indians pitcher.
He told me there wasn't going to be a reprimand or any consequences. I was not fined, was not suspended. I just couldn't tell anybody about it, ever.
Unfortunately, Albert Bell didn't fare as well. His bat was analyzed, found to be corked. The slugger was given a 10-game suspension that was eventually reduced to 7. Grimsley's participation in Bell's bat heist remained a mystery for over 10 years.
That was fun, between the adrenaline rush and, the sense of being able to pull something off that I don't think anybody thought I could pull off. It's a little bit of history. I don't think it's ever happened before. I don't think it'll ever happen again.